Guys, please share this around. Retweet it. Send it to your friends. Starting in 2 minutes. A lot going on in the market this morning. Is that a 5% drop on Bitcoin? We're starting in a few minutes. We're going to look at the difference between a 9 to 5 and trading lifestyle. We got James again and Emma. Okay, guys, good morning or wherever you are. Another live stream here. Passion for trading versus the 9 to 5. We're ending off our love month, our passionate month. Next month, we're going to be doing a little bit more bouncing back from drawdown sort of style, getting out of drawdown, using momentum, all sorts of things like that. Swing of trading. We're going to be going into spring, so we're going to be springing up in action. That's all going to be next month. Guys, I know you're looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now here too. Bitcoin's down significantly. So I'm going to throw that on the chart really quick. And we got to discuss this because I thought it was going to go up, James, man. Look at that monthly candle.
Yeah, it is a big down candle for sure.
This is huge. If you notice, we have 3 days left in the month. I'm not very optimistic on that close there. And that was what? Was that overnight? Was there any cause to this that you know of, James?
Not that I know of personally, but maybe there was some rebalancing or maybe something. I know the guys are speaking like that, but yeah, nothing that I know of and I can comment on with full certainty at the moment.
I was getting pings all through the night. If you look at the sessions here, what was this? This was just the past few hours. It started dumping, wasn't it? Throughout the night, I was getting pings. Everything was crashing. I woke up in the middle of the night. I should get out of my positions. Got out of the positions. And, we definitely took a loss on some of those longs there that we were trying to long sort of in, this sort of area, which looked really good. Is when you looked at the weekly, we see, these, draw a line here. These wicks off the bottom, regaining these zones. We thought good chance we'd be at least breaking a new high. Life is saying everything is going down. What about gold? Gold going down too. Everything went down this morning, and that's pretty rare that you see both gold, the NASDAQ, and Bitcoin going down. And do we know why that could possibly be? I guess maybe if it's all dependent on the dollar. What's your thought, James? Is there anything causing everything to collapse?
Let me actually get my screen up over here.
You share your screen. Let's look at your analysis over the past 12 hours. Let's see here. Show that.
Yeah, so I've actually I know last stream, we actually had some Bitcoin shorts, and I've got some Bitcoin shorts at the moment in some profit. So we'll see how this plays out. I might be looking for a little bit of a longer term play. We're almost back towards this daily 200 EMA. which is back at 85K at the moment. So that's kind of what I'm seeing at the moment. I've also got some Dow shorts, so US 30 shorts as well, just underneath the simple 200 EMA, which I spoke about last week's stream. So we'll see how that plays out. That's sitting a little bit of negative. I'm down 30 points at the moment. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, from a fundamental perspective, I'm not too sure what could be causing this this pullback at the moment.
It's a little bit concerning on that Bitcoin side. I know a lot of people are just strictly Bitcoin traders, and I love watching crypto because it's all about, okay, is the top in, and I think, I don't know your take. I would say if we close the month where we're at now, I think that would have been the top. I think we have another year of downside if we continue. What about yourself?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, again, no one really knows, right? But I think it's definitely over here. It's not really looking too bullish. I mean, kind of like if you look at it from a larger scale, I mean, the technical traders will see like a head and shoulders maybe pattern like this on the daily time frame. But we definitely are looking for next stop towards that daily 200 EMA. And then obviously we'll have to see what price wants to do around there. But these are two big bars down. So the last 2 days, currently we're down 9.5% in the last 2 trading days. So that is a big pullback for sure. So some volatility coming in for sure. And obviously where we launched over here in November, maybe a pullback towards that level before, a next springboard higher is definitely possible.
That's what I've been saying for the past, few months, I suppose, is that we still have an untested sub 80K levels. The gap up from the Trump winning the election. I think that was 77K, something like that. So we could still easily fill that and then, more or less continue the bull market from there. There is that kind of hope. And the concerning thing though is, I always feel bad for crypto traders because they get into the market at the top. Majority of people, they get into the market at the top and then they lose all their money because now we're coming down, we're crashing. I've had friends that, they have no business being in finance. They message me, say, hey, how do I buy Bitcoin? Right? Here's an app. Here you go, figure it out on your own, right? And I know they're all under the water, and they've all, they're probably going to sell right at the bottom when they're bored, right? And it's the cycle repeats itself every single time. Now I wonder, I'm thinking there's a good chance now that the Bitcoin ETFs are out, now that the institutions are in Bitcoin, I'm thinking Bitcoin's going to more closely mirror the NASDAQ in that there might not be so much for cycles anymore. Would you agree with that, or do you think we're still going to see that 4-year cycle?
That is quite interesting. I mean, on crypto, I'm not I can't comment too much on the cycles and that. I mean, you're obviously the crypto guy. You'll have to speak more on that. But I have noticed that that Bitcoin does like to mirror, as you mentioned, the NASDAQ and the American stocks at the moment. So I don't know. Maybe it does become more correlated towards that instead of crypto trading by itself, possibly. But we'll have to see what also Trump does with crypto and what laws come into place with him as well. With that whole side of things too. So
it is quite funny how now that Trump is elected and he's very pro crypto. That's basically when everything started crashing. After, I mean, I'm going to throw up on the chart here one last time. This was the day he was inaugurated, right? And that was the exact top.
That's wild.
Right? So it's interesting because this entire push started, what was it, November? When was he? Was it November 5th?
I think 5th of November he was elected.
So it's quite ironic that this launched literally on the 5th, and then we topped literally on. So the bull market, quote unquote, here was the only time between him winning and being actually elected. And now we're coming back down and we're probably going to retest those levels. And I suppose there's a really, really good chance that those will be filled at the same sort of levels that we were at before. And because that's what we were holding before any of this presidency news came out,
Yeah.
right? So we know that Bitcoin can hold this area, right? We know that. I got to get the drawing here. We know that this is a stable price for Bitcoin, 70K. We've seen it before, and we've seen it for quite a few number of months. All of 2024, actually. This is January right here, right? February, and then that was November. So all of 2024. So there's a good chance we hit it again in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, it also like it depends how you're trading it. If you're a technical trader, just trading what's in front of you as well is probably the best thing to do. I mean, no one knows. It's all like nice fun and games to see where it's going to go, but no one really knows. We just got to trade what's in front of us, right?
Totally. Okay, that's enough of that on the charts there, guys. James is going to take a little bit more of the lead today. I usually kind of do my own rambling, but we're going to pass the torch a little bit to him. I think he's got a couple of things prepared for us, which might be fun and exciting, hopefully, or it's a big drop of the ball if he can't keep up. But just like usual, Emma's sitting there in the sidelines. She's going to put questions on the screen. Jump in at any time. If you guys got questions, 50K account to the best question in the comment section there. Make sure to share this stream around. We do this every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. PST. That's 5 p.m. UTC. Do the math wherever you are. James, what do we got today?
Yeah, so we got today, we wanted to speak about passion for trading, versus the 9 to 5 months. And I had a couple of points here. Hunter wanted me to take over today because I was short in Bitcoin. I was trading so well last week. So
is it the same? Sorry, is it the same short from last week?
No. Different trade. I held that other short from last week for about another day, and then I closed out for some nice profits, and then I literally just got short now today. So different trade, different trade. Yeah, not
okay. So
I'll be doing quite well to hold for a week, Hunter. Normally my trade's about between like a couple, maybe 10 hours to about 3 days, 5 days.
You're really going to be kicking yourself if this rallies up in the next 3 days back to that range, right? Because we know for sure if it rallies up, we know for sure we're going next new highs.
Exactly, and as mentioned, we're coming towards that daily 200 EMA, which we know on Bitcoin stocks, and that could be a very key level of support. So okay. So basically today I had a couple of points from the 9 to 5 mindset versus the passion for trading. And I want to get what your guys' thoughts are on the chat in terms of like anyone that actually trades and works full time. I deal with quite a lot of the guys that do that. And one of the things that the mindsets, and we can speak about this, Hunter, one of the mindset that is very, very different between the two is if I'm working, right? And I'm going to a job, let's say I'm an accountant, whatever, that's what I studied at university. And I go to work as an accountant, which I obviously absolutely hate, but I go do that.
Is this what you were doing before?
No, I was playing professional rugby before.
Okay. So I was kind of confused.
Yes.
A professional accountant. Where did you come up with this?
Professional accountant. Yeah. Okay. So let's say I studied at the same time while playing rugby, but a lot of the time so you go to work and you get paid by the hour, right? So at the end of the month, you know what your check is going to be. And the very different thing about trading is that you actually don't know how much you're going to get paid at the end of every single month. Yeah. If you've got $100,000 Maven funded account and you make 1 month, you could make 2%, well, you're going to make $2,000, right? Compared to another month, you might lose 2% and you're actually not going to get paid at all. So I want to get the guys' thoughts, and what are your thoughts as well, Hunter, on that?
Yeah, I have a terrible view on this that everyone seems to hate. It's just, it causes such an uproar every single time I say something like this on Twitter, is I think trading should be a hobby. I don't think anyone should ever take it seriously. In terms of, let me preface, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. That's going to cause some hate, right? I don't think anyone should take it as their sole source of income until you have just an insane amount of money that you don't have to take it seriously, right?
Sure.
Because the reality is, you got some of those 2% months. Sometimes you might lose your account, right? Let's say you lose your account. Now you don't have an income at all. You can't possibly get an income until you get a new funded account, right? And we're talking prop firms here, right? But you could have your own brokerage account, and hopefully you don't lose that account at any point. But the reality is, if you're reliant, and everyone says this all the time, if you're reliant on the money that you need to make from trading, it's going to be much more difficult. You're probably not going to make any money at all. So you need to have some sort of stable income, right? Whether that is from long-term trading, right? So maybe you do Bitcoin trading. That's fine. I'm happy with that. And you maybe you have a huge stockpile of funds, or maybe you do, sort of stuff like we might do online where it's trading related live streams for Maven. You get some sort of income that you can live off of. Okay. And then you trade on the side for that side cash, right? You grow that account balance, and eventually you'll have, $100 billion in your account, and you can move the markets and do whatever you want.
100%. Yeah, sorry, Emma, go ahead.
It's okay. Sorry for interrupting. We're getting asked what everyone was doing before trading. You mentioned you were into professional rugby?
Yeah, so I played professional rugby for 3 years. So I left school end of 2016. 2017, I signed a 3-year contract to play for the Sharks in Durban, South Africa. And I played a few senior matches. Some of the guys I played with are actually playing for the South African side right now. So I did that for 3 years, and then I didn't get another contract. So that's kind of during that time I was studying, and that's actually where I had my first breakout year trading was in 2020. And I was trading actually my own brokerage account. And then when prop firms became a thing, obviously just helped a lot. And that's where prop firms like Maven, and that just, you get your hands on more capital, you can make more money. Yeah. You're not going to make a full-time income from a $10,000 trading account. And I agree with you, Hunter. Yeah. It's just, you got to actually be realistic. And I actually traded full-time as my only source of income. I wasn't doing any content, any live streams, any coaching, none of that sort for 2 years. And I think it was probably actually I was making good money, but it was probably one of the most down periods in my time in my life, because you don't actually have anything else to do besides trade. And then it gets really, really lonely,
Totally. That's an interesting point, actually, is that can really force, how shall I say, over trading, right? Because if you have nothing else going on, let's say, myself, I don't have a family like you got, right? So if I'm just sitting here and I got nothing else to do after 9 a.m., right, I'm probably going to keep trading throughout the day and then start just doing random things that's just blow up my account. And then ultimately, it's actually going to be detrimental for my trading career. I have the most success when I trade 1 hour a day, because then I can get in, get out, have all of my mind on it. It's very taxing. How was your mindset only thinking about trading all the time?
Yeah, it's very, as you said, very, very taxing. I actually tweeted about this the other day. Maybe it was last night. I can't even remember. But basically saying that after becoming a dad, I'm going to be kind of going towards swing trading, where you saw in my Bitcoin trade from today. I kind of have a larger stop on that. I used to trade on the 1 minute time frames, and that's cool. But for me, I kind of want to move into this, where I'm holding trades from anywhere from 10 hours to 5 days, whatever it is, until the market tells me that it's turning on me or whatever it is. But I just it's very, very tiring to be staring at those charts every single day. And also when I go out in my social life and that, I don't actually tell people that I trade, because then the next person will be like, oh, Bitcoin and all this shit. And I'm like, no, it's just too much,
It does get it. Every time I say anything about trading, they say, hey, you do crypto. I'm like, not really. Well, okay, what do you do then? I don't want to explain.
It does become a bit much at times, 100%. So I think it's good so going back towards the topic, it's good to have a passion for trading. Don't get me wrong. I think we spoke about kind of a similar topic last week, but it's good to have a passion for trading. But it is different to a 9 to 5. Yes, you got to put in, we spoke about, you got to put in the back testing work. But once you've kind of established yourself and you can actually, you got a bit of money to trade, and maybe you got a couple of funded accounts, maybe you got 2-3 funded accounts, to spend every single day looking at it, I don't think it's good for a longevity point of view. Are you going to be doing that for 20 years, 20 years to come? And that's kind of what I saw in myself, is the way that I'm trading now, can I be doing this for the next 20 years? I don't have much more hair to lose, so I don't know what else is going to have to give away. So it's
that's the running joke in the industry, hey?
Yeah, so you have to have a long-term view on it, but also be sustainable. And going back to what you said earlier, in terms of trading should be a hobby, call it. I agree. The traders that come into us and that we work with aren't saying, dude, I'm quitting my job and I'm coming full time into this. They're guys that are actually making, good money in their 9 to 5 work. And then they actually don't have the pressure of being like, flip, I need to pass this funding account in the next 3 months. Otherwise, I'm going to have no source of income. That's not what the base traders do. The base traders come in, they have a source of income, and then they come in and they actually take good payouts because it's additional income to whatever else they're already doing,
Yeah. Yeah, there's something I really like to recommend people is they like to copy trade all their accounts, and I say, hey, don't do that until you get to the point where you're never going to blow them. And I don't think that's possible in the prop firm space, right?
I don't think I'm at that level yet, and I've been doing prop firms for 3 to 4 years. It's going to happen. You're going to go on tilt or have a bad 2 weeks or whatever it is, bad month.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about maybe every 3 months or so I'll blow the account. If I'm trading very well, it'll be every 3 months or so I'll end up blowing the account, and then you've blown all of them, and that makes it really unreliable to be trading if you are trading full time. Which honestly, I think prop firms are they're kind of the entry level system, right? For newer traders, right? They're a tool that you can use to quickly get some money, so that you can then put it in your brokerage account with that large amount of capital and then become a professional trader in the future. I think prop firms are great for the guy who's going to work, right?
Yes.
Emma, there was a question there a minute ago. What was it? The mindset difference?
Yeah, there's been several. So there was a question about the psychology between 9 to 5 versus full-time trading or just trading in general. It's a completely different mindset I think you have to have for both.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's trading is an interesting mindset where the more it's a complete opposite of everything else we learn as a man to do in our lives, where we grow up saying, hey, the more I work at something, the better I'm going to get at it. The stronger I fight, the stronger I lift the weights, the more I plow the fields, right? All these manly stuff, right? It's going to be more reward. And with trading, you have to sit back and do nothing most of the time, right? You have to, the mindset of it is accepting that the best action is usually doing nothing, right?
Yeah. Well, I think
and actively do nothing though, right? So it's a little like you don't be lazy. So it's a little bit of a both worlds. What were you gonna say?
I think we spoke about that in the start. Like when you go to work like a 9 to 5, you're going to get paid no matter how much work you do, really, honestly.
Yeah. That's true.
Unless you get fired, but you're going to get paid at the end of the month. Whereas as mentioned, like a trading, you could sit there every single day, do back testing, everything like that, and you could still lose money at the end of the month. And that is the difference between mentally, psychologically, from a 9 to 5 to trading, is that sometimes the market just is not in your favor for the way that you like to trade, and that could happen. And then other months you could be knocking it out the park, as Hunter was saying, that like after every 3 months, even when he's trading well, every 3 months or so he'll blow his funded accounts and then have to reset. I actually failed a few accounts yesterday, and that's going to happen. But as mentioned, the nice thing is I'm not trading exactly all of them at the same time, so I'm not jeopardizing. Like if you got 5 accounts, essentially, you basically have 5 different tries of taking trades. Whereas if you're trading them all at the same time, you take one mess up of a day. Well, you're a bit stuffed,
Totally. I often on live stream, I get a lot of flack if I ever blow an account, which it's happened a few times on live stream.
Sure.
But it's not a big deal. It's part of the game, and it's hilarious to see the reaction is, oh, I thought you were a good trader, right? You can still be a good trader and still make money and then blow the account every once in a while. It's very, very rare that somebody's never going to blow the account. I would say it's nearly impossible to do that, right? So don't feel bad when you do blow the account, right?
Agreed. Yeah. 100%.
Another question I actually got in here was like, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have when they do decide to leave a 9 to 5 job and pursue trading? Or really, in this case, it's a form of self-employment.
Misconceptions. Well, the number one in the industry, I think we always talk about things like this, is how much money you can make off of nothing, right? You have to slowly build that capital, and that's what the prop firms are used for, right? Is you build the capital, you put it into an account, and then when you do have $100,000-$200,000 sitting in there, right, then you can trade it on your own and not have to confine to that 4 or 5% max drawdown rules that a lot of firms have, and you can trade more freely now. More misconceptions of going into. So the other one too is maybe I'm actually wrong with this. James, you would have to help me with this because I've never actually traded just as a trader. I've always had other sources of income, and trading was more of a hobby for me. But the fact they say you only trade 15 minutes a day, right? You only work 15 minutes a day and then chilling on the beach the rest of the time. Or you're hanging out with peacocks in your backyard looking at the view, right?
Yeah, that definitely doesn't happen. That's definitely for sure. But yeah, no, that doesn't happen. Trading full time, I think, just trading full time when I was doing it for 2 years was very, very mentally taxing. It just was. As I said, I don't recommend it actually to do, because it's very, very. What happens if at the end of the month you haven't made 1 cent from trading, and then you're like, well, I actually have to pay for rent, or I got to pay for my child's school fees, or whatever you got to pay for, and stuff comes up. I don't recommend that at all. It's just too mentally unstable. You're going to have great times, and then you're going to have other times that you kind of like searching, left scratching your head, and you're like, what am I actually going to do? So I don't. That definitely is not the case. I think it's
so. Why don't we discuss then what are some good options for like your core job, right? And we were chatting before. You're saying, okay, you did some rugby, and by the way, how the heck did you get from rugby to trading?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I was studying my BCom at the same time, so Bachelor of Commerce. And my dads are accountants actually by profession with their own companies. My dad and my father-in-law. So I had 2 people in my corner that were very heavily in the financial markets already, talking about stocks and all that type of stuff. So kind of already had a background in that. And, I really, I've always found the financial markets very interesting. So I was studying, and we're learning in our BCom, you actually have to learn about particularly options like strike prices, option plays, that type of stuff. Actually part of the modules. And I was like, maybe this thing is like, real. But obviously you see a lot of the guys on the internet showing
maybe it's real.
Showing the fake lifestyles, and that kind of turned me off. But that's kind of how I got into it. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to start trading. And I obviously started with just in South Africa, CFD brokers are a lot easier accessible. We don't trade futures in South Africa. So that was just obviously I started trading currencies, and then looking at indexes, and then stocks and all that type of stuff. And that's how kind of I got into it. So I think, but in terms of like what you have as like a main job, well, I think it's going to obviously be different for everyone. I think also sometimes people think like, okay, if I have a job, I can't trade. And I think that couldn't be further from the truth. You can still swing trade while having a full-time job. If one of the guys that I'm working with right now, he literally comes in an hour before the market close, and he looks at any of his he trades options, any of his stocks that he wants to take an hour before the market closure. And then he goes about his day and comes back the next day. So, yeah, interesting. Okay. So I wonder, would you be able to do both rugby and trading at the same time, or is that just way too intense? That gives you something to do the rest of the day. Sure, 100%.
Train and work out.
Yeah, can you do rugby and trade at the same time? I would say yes. It's like any other job, but I think it just depends on how much you're going to give, how much time you got. Sometimes, you're so tired by the end of each day. I was doing it. I was very tired. I was studying at the same time, playing rugby and trading. And I actually started off by swing trading. I was like holding for a couple of days, and that's kind of what I've kind of gone back to right at the moment. But yeah, can you do that? 100%. It depends on how much time you give to it.
Yeah.
So how much passion for it. Yeah.
How much passion? I like it. The key word of the month.
Yeah.
I think there are certain jobs though that you'd have a very difficult time trying to do trading on the side while doing them, depending on what time zone you're in as well. Some jobs, like, you have to be hands-on, you're away from a computer, you can't be on your phone for safety reasons. Like, you're not going to be trading during that time. So then you're kind of you have to mess around with markets that suit you, and yeah, it can be a little difficult.
So what are some good jobs then? Because I know how I got into trading was I was doing IT tech work, and I was basically sitting doing network security sort of stuff, always on the computer, waiting for problems to happen. So I had lots of time. And when a problem happened, okay, yeah, tech support, hi, okay, I'll go fix your internet, right? But majority of the time, I'm kind of just chilling there. So I was able to watch the market throughout the day. Now, the hilarious thing is, I didn't realize that my time market closes around noon. So every single time around noon, I'd blow my account. But, but slowly you start learning these things over time, and you need to know your time zone, exactly as Emma said. And so that was a job that gave me the opportunity to become who I am today, right?
Sure.
So what's another job? Like, Emma, yourself.
Someone just suggested e-commerce. A lot of people love to say marketing, which I never understood, because when I first started a marketing job, oh my God, I was so busy. But I worked in an ad agency. Like, I didn't have time to do anything besides work on client accounts. So when I had other friends who were doing other things on the side, I'm like, do you not work? I just didn't understand it. But it really just depends on the flexibility of your schedule and the actual job you're doing.
Yeah.
So
I will say though with e-commerce, like I've got one of my friends that lives down the road from me. He does very well in e-commerce. Like he'll do north of $50 million a year in revenue. That's exceptionally good. But the thing is, it's also like it's very unstable. It took him about 3 to 4 years to find a product that actually worked, and then it also like he literally makes his whole, almost, I'd say like 80% of his yearly revenue in 1 month in December, because his product that he does is more around people buy it at Christmas. Yeah. So it's like, well, now you're literally leaving a job, well, not leaving a job. You're saying you want to have another source of income outside of trading because you want a more stable income, but now you got another thing that's also unstable. So I don't think that particularly would be a good one. I would say, your general stuff, like maybe like, as mentioned, like accounting, finance, anything in finance, anything along those lines as a general job, talking like not like entrepreneurship is I would say is very good for another like stable source of income, and even better, a job that you can do from home.
Yeah. You're looking at more white collar jobs, right? Like blue collar jobs or stuff like medicine, you're not going to be able to do.
Totally. And if you're working with your hands, you're not pulling up your phone to check your trades every day.
Not at all.
You need to have a computer there. I found it hilarious that people would recommend going into trading after e-commerce, where e-commerce is its own beast in itself. You're going to make just as much money, and it's just as difficult, right? You said your friend's making 50 million. Right. Yeah.
The revenue.
Why would you even consider going into another career? You've already mastered this one. Exactly. Why do you need trading as well? That's wild, unless you're bored. But I had a buddy, actually, he did river float rentals. So he would rent out, and it's 2 months a year he would be making his entire year of income, and then he would do nothing for the rest of the year. A lot of these jobs are very much similar to trading, in the sense that you're saying, Christmas time, but it's yearly based, right? So instead of, trading is you trade the New York Open, then you wait the rest of the time, right?
Yes.
And a lot of these skills, it seems to be like there might be overlap, and that might be the difference between the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 is you work the whole time. With all of these skills we're developing, it's about patience and knowing when to act and when to sit back and meditate and learn, right?
Sure. Yeah, I think, I just think e-commerce is not a good one. If you're already in the trading space, I don't think e-commerce is another good example of looking for a 9 to 5 for sure. As mentioned, probably like the white collar jobs, because you can't have two unstable sources of income. You're just going to go crazy even more. So yeah.
Hey, I would argue that two unstable sources of income, one's always going to be stable then, hey? You're balancing the load.
It balances it out. Yeah, sure.
So I find this question interesting, because most people trade for money, but they're talking about trading for passion, and they're asking like, well, shouldn't we do what makes us happy instead of chasing the money? Well, we all kind of need to live, and unfortunately, money is what allows us to do that. So you still need some element of that in your life.
Yep.
You could go find yourself a sugar daddy somewhere and have him pay all your bills and get a trading allowance that allows you
Trading
to
allowance.
gamble.
You're so inspiring over there.
Yeah, I aspire to be a sugar daddy one day.
I thought you were about to say I aspire to be a sugar baby, but
one or the other.
One or the
Both
other,
will work fine as long as there's some sort of sugar.
Oh.
I prefer a good honey though.
Yeah, you might have to find another stable source of income if you do that.
Oh yeah, sure. That'll be the stable source of income is getting paid.
Yeah. Someone earlier actually asked, and I feel like it attaches to this discussion. How can traders leverage some of their skills if they don't want to do a 9-to-5 job? If they're all in on trading and they know they can't just rely on trading, what are some other things that they could do to kind of offset that? So we already kind of talked about e-commerce. Someone talked about content creation, which is a very common one as well. I don't know if there's anything else that kind of pops into mind.
Yeah, guys. Well, this is something that I always kind of struggled with. Is I suck at working for other people, right? When it has to do with this is my goal, my dream, I can go all out. So this is what I'm hearing is why. First of all, why do you want to be a trader? My first thought is you want your own anonymity, right? Your own. Thank you, Emma. Give me the nod. That's the right word, right?
There's been a couple times you needed some help with a word. I'm just here to help.
It's a difficult word, and I think I got it right. Right. So you want your own freedom and control over your life, right? And that's what trading gives you. So what is it about trading that's inspiring you? Find something that is similarly gives you that emotion. Now, trading is obviously like the big guy. That's the end goal. But you can find something like maybe you don't mind being outside and you want to go get a pressure washer, right? And clean people's decks, while in the evening or something like that, right? That might give you the ability to trade during the day and then have an income where you're still in control. You just have to deal with, a little bit of water for 4 or 5 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
Someone actually just asked, they're trading, they're also going to school, and they're wondering if they should add a stable source to that. I think it kind of depends on your financial situation when you're going to school. Some people have a lot more support than others.
I would go get a job at the gym because you don't have to do anything there. You just make sure to scan the right barcode and then good to go, You
just want that free gym membership too.
You get a free gym membership too. You can trade. There's a computer. It's the dream job.
Yeah.
You gotta work out in between trades. The dream job.
It's not actually a terrible idea, honestly.
It's what I did.
Where do you think actually like the idea of like trading full time actually came from? Like why don't more people actually have like the thing like, okay, I'm gonna actually have multiple ways of making money?
I have a theory on that, I'll let Hunter answer.
Well, I think the idea of it is traders kind of stemmed from people originally being employed by massive institutions, right? So their job was like a kind of a broker or something where they were selling stocks or they were on the trading floor for corporations who had massive amounts of volume. So they had an income and they were just making more money for the company, right? But that's an interesting thought. I've not dove into that. Emma, what's your take?
So actually, to add on to what you were saying is, I agree. I think it stems from that, but I actually think the idea of trading full time in a different way, besides just like the typical Wall Street thing, comes from barriers to entry into Wall Street, right? Like there was a period of time where people only got hired to these very, very corporate jobs if they came from the right university and the right background and they had the right connections, right?
Yeah.
So the ability to trade full-time in a completely different way kind of breaks down those barriers that were there and allows people different options.
Yeah, it definitely is interesting though, because everyone, when I first got into trading, everyone's like, I'm going to trade full time. And it's probably it's probably the silliest thing to do, to be honest.
It's quite silly because honestly, yeah, it makes no sense because it takes such a little amount of time. Maybe you're saying, hey, I want to not have a job. That might be the dream.
Yeah.
I want to be retired. I want to do nothing. Maybe that's the dream everyone's aspiring.
I want to be retired. Yeah.
Well, it's also one of those things that if you were someone who was, say, making crafts to sell, no one who's making crafts to sell, trying to make an income out of it, is going to go into that just full time suddenly. They're going to test the water, see how they do. And if something that they're making is selling and making them a good profit, that's when they would actually go into it full time. So with trading, it's always an interesting thing because people just feel like they can just dive into it, but you have to treat it like any other business. You need to make sure you can do it
100%. Or I mean, this is also something to speak about, like the 9 to 5 to trading. Is I think that when you leave university, right, or college, if that's something that you studied, and you go into a job, you're not going to start off as the CEO making the biggest salary at the company. That's just not going to happen. So it's the same as trading. You also got to pay your dues. Like, I've been doing this for 7-8 years now. I'm still learning every single day. I know some guys that are doing this for 20 years plus, and they're still saying they're learning every single day. And they've made millions of dollars trading. So it's like that's also the thing is like I don't understand why traders or this the community on Twitter or trading community at large thinks that like, okay, you're going to take a couple of courses. After 1 or 2 months, you're going to start taking 10K out from these prop firms like Maven. It's not going to happen. Like that's just so unrealistic. That, I mean, if you imagine you walked into your 9 to 5 first day on the job and you said, well, next month I'm actually going to be applying for the role of CEO. They would laugh at you, Yeah.
Yeah. I'll kick the CEO out and take his.
And the thing is some people definitely climb faster than others, just like some people get really good at trading faster than others. But you still need to test yourself and make sure you're on the right track. So. Someone actually asked about, say, if someone did decide to go more full margin on trading, back away from the 9 to 5, or they only have a part-time job. Is there a good way for traders to kind of build a backup plan if everything goes sideways to like make sure that they're okay and they could return to the traditional workforce?
Well, I don't think there should, in one sense, I don't think there should be a backup plan. You should plan a life that you can keep consistent forever. Right. That's my belief is if you love trading, do it as the hobby forever, but you always need some other source that is also your own means to income, whether you want to work a 9 to 5. I think that's ridiculous. But that's because I'm completely arrogant and self-indulgent, right? So I can't work for somebody else. So I would rather sell water bottles on the side of the street on a hot day, sort of thing, right? But any sort of thing like this, it's going to give you the same sort of satisfaction at the end of the day. Hey, I just sold some water bottles on the side of the street and I made $200 today. That's really great. Okay, awesome. That's really fun. When you're building something that's your own, it's the same sort of glory as getting a winning trade at the end of the day. It's just you might have worked a little bit harder. And I think the allure of trading is you get that I'm working on my own. I've developed a skill that's really, really profitable, whilst not leaving my house, right? And I still get to do nothing basically. And I think that's the major allure is people don't actually really want to work. So it's the trade-off of how much are you actually going to want to work? And you could just be homeless and not work if that's the allure that you're looking for, right? But it's the weird duality where people want to be rich and do nothing. So you got to pick one or the other.
Yeah, 100%. Any other questions, Emma? Any other good questions?
Gosh, we've got a lot of questions throughout. Let me just put some in notes so I didn't miss things this time.
Yeah, chat's not as crazy today. Hey,
not as crazy today, brutal. Which is nice because I can actually follow the questions. But yeah,
let's get something good to end off on and then wrap her up, eh?
Yeah, I think here's a bit of a big one. Someone said like what is it about the 9 to 5 mindset that can hold you back while trading? And I think that makes sense because trading is more of an entrepreneurial thing,
Yes.
while the 9 to 5 is a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
So
There's a mindset. I think Louise would love to chat on this. Actually,
True.
she's coming to mind right now with limiting beliefs, where our entire lives are caged in a box. We go to school. These are our hours, right? This is the bell. Hey, don't do this. Follow the rules. You know, treat your classmates right. You should do that anyways. That's an extra one in there. But you know, and all of these rules that we have to follow, and this is the system that we live our lives to, right? Whereas you come into the trading world and you can do anything, make any amount of money, lose any amount of money. There's no rules. You have to create your own rules now, right? And we have a hard time getting out of that box mindset of what we could become, right? And we don't even know how to get there because we've never practiced how to discover our own beliefs, right? And so that's the major mindset that's coming to my mind that's different is the 9 to 5 says, hey, this is what you do, and then you get paid. Result or action, reward, where trading is a much bigger beast that you have to create on your own.
Yeah, I think just to build on top of that, you said something there about limiting beliefs, Hunter. It's like, sometimes, you know, friends of mine and that they don't actually realize what is possible as a trader, as an entrepreneur. Like, don't get me wrong, you can make very, very nice money trading. Is it going to be consistent every single month, the same amount every single month? No, completely not. That's what we've been speaking about. But like, as you mentioned, like going to a 9 to 5, you probably, if you don't really like your job, you're probably doing the bare minimum. With trading, you can't be doing that. You need to actually still be putting in the work. You can't be putting the bare minimum and expecting your business, your own shop, because technically it is you kind of an entrepreneur mindset being a trader. You can't expect that business to grow year on year if you are giving the bare minimum. So that's probably something I would say from a 9 to 5 mindset that could probably hold you back. When
you say bare minimum, I'm thinking a lot of people at home, they might say, hey, I'm just going to put more time in, you know, I'm going to put more back testing in. I'm going to, you know, watch the charts and trade for 12 hours a day now. Right. And now I'm not putting in the bare minimum. That's still putting in the bare minimum because that's not finding systems of how to beat the market. That's brute forcing, and brute forcing is still bare minimum. Right. So just want to make sure that people watching kind of understand that it's a lot more difficult than just putting in the hours.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is 9 to 5, you always have someone holding you responsible for something. Even if you're at the top of the food chain, you have other people there holding you responsible for something. When you're a trader and you're trading by yourself, you have to hold yourself responsible. There's no one there to help you or to tell you you're doing something wrong or to push you forward if you're not pushing yourself forward.
Yeah. Guys, I think that's the stream. Fantastic stream. Emma's going to pick a winner. James, do you want to do the wrap up spiel just because you're quote unquote leading here? See what you can do.
We'll give up the wrap up spiel. I didn't get the notes what Hunter normally says for the wrap up spiel, but yeah, guys, appreciate you being on today. Maybe in the comments we can get in the comments on Twitter. Maybe some thoughts. Hunter, I don't know if you've got a topic for next week, but maybe if you can give us some ideas for topics for the next couple of streams. Going forward. So, you know, put that on Twitter, put that in the chat here. We can document that. And then we'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Yeah, right on. Perfect, James. Yeah, I completely threw him under the bus there. He had no idea that he had to do a wrap-up spiel. Guys, 5 p.m. UTC every single Tuesday, Maven Live. Next month is going to be springing into momentum of trading, right? That's going to be our topics. Emma, who won?
So Annie Paul 03 over on YouTube won. I have tagged you in the chat. There's instructions on how to claim your account. Pop into our Discord and open a ticket.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching for February. 3 days left on Bitcoin there. We were talking about at the start. Let me know in the comments of Twitter, what do you think? Is Bitcoin going to rally in the last 3 days? And we're going to leave it at that. Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Bye.